Hello, my dear students. Welcome back to English Mastery Hub. My name is Logan, and I'm thrilled to be here with you today. How are you feeling? Excited? I hope so, because today we're going to talk about something that can change your life, unlocking your full English potential in 2025. If you dream of speaking English fluently, confidently, and naturally, you are in the right place. Imagine how amazing it would feel to express yourself easily in English, whether you're talking with friends, traveling, or even working. That dream can become your reality, starting right now. In this lesson, I'm going to share practical, simple steps that you can take every day to improve your English skills. These tips are easy to follow, and they're perfect for beginners like you. Don't worry about making mistakes. Learning is a process, and every step you take brings you closer to your goal. But before we dive in, make sure to follow English Mastery Hub so you don't miss any of our lessons. Together, we'll make 2025 the year you transform your English skills. Ready to begin? Let's get started. Many learners feel overwhelmed because they believe they need to know everything all at once. But let me tell you a secret. Big journeys always begin with small steps. You don't need to learn hundreds of words or perfect grammar overnight. Instead, focus on starting small. Begin with simple words and phrases that you can use in your daily life. Think about words like hello, thank you, and sorry. These words might seem basic, but they are incredibly powerful because they are used in everyday conversations. When you use these simple words often, you start building a strong foundation for your English skills. Don't underestimate the value of small efforts. They lead to big results over time. Let's say you want to greet someone. A simple, hello, how are you, can open up a friendly conversation. Or imagine saying, thank you for your help after someone assists you. These small phrases make a big difference in real-life situations. So, don't rush. Take your time to master the basics first. Here's a practice idea. Make a list of 10 simple words today. These can be words that are useful for you right now. For example, if you're going to the grocery store, learn words like apple, milk, and bread. If you work in an office, practice words like email, meeting, and report. Once you have your list, try using these words in sentences. For example, I bought an apple today. Or our meeting starts at 10 a.m. Practice these phrases daily, and you'll see progress faster than you expect. The best part? You'll gain confidence as you realize you can actually use English in real-life situations. Another tip: don't be afraid to repeat the same words and sentences many times. Repetition is a powerful tool for learning. When you say or write something repeatedly, it becomes easier to remember. For example, if you're practicing the words "Ari," you can use it in different situations. I'm sorry I'm late. Sorry I didn't hear you. Or, sorry, can you repeat that? The key here is consistency. Spend just a few minutes each day practicing these small words and phrases. Even if it's only 5 or 10 minutes, those small efforts will add up over time. Imagine how much you'll improve after 1 week, 1 month, or even 1 year of regular practice. And here's something important to remember. Don't worry about making mistakes. Mistakes are a natural part of learning. If you use a word incorrectly, that's okay. In fact, making mistakes is one of the best ways to learn. Each time you correct a mistake, you grow a little bit more confident. So take it step by step. Focus on small, manageable tasks. Learn a few words, use them, repeat them, and build on them. With each step, you'll be moving closer to fluency. And remember, every great English speaker started where you are right now with the basics. Keep going, stay positive, and trust the process. The more you practice, the better you'll get. And soon, you'll look back and see just how far you've come. Now take that first step. Start small, think big, and watch your English skills grow. Learning English becomes much easier when you make it a part of your daily life. Think of English as a new friend that you spend time with every day. The more you interact with it, the more comfortable and confident you'll feel. But how can you do this? It's simpler than you think. Start by surrounding yourself with English as much as possible. For example, you can watch English videos or TV shows. Don't worry about understanding everything. Just focus on hearing the language and getting used to how it sounds. If you're a beginner, you can start with shows or videos for children because they use simple words and slow speech. Subtitles can also help you follow along and learn new vocabulary. Another great way to include English in your routine is by listening to English music. Songs are a fun and easy way to pick up new words and phrases. Choose one song you like and listen to it every day this week. Pay attention to the lyrics, especially the chorus, because it's often repeated. Sing along as much as you can. Even if you don't get all the words right, you're still practicing. Music makes learning feel less like work and more like play. Here's a fun tip. Label items in your home with their English names. For example, put a label that says mirror on your mirror or refrigerator on your fridge. Every time you see these labels, you'll automatically think of their English names. It's a simple way to practice vocabulary without even trying. You can also practice English when you're out and about. For example, if you're at a cafe, try thinking in English about what you want to order. Instead of saying, "I want tea" in your native language, think or say it in English. This small mental exercise helps you get used to forming sentences naturally. Reading is another way to include English in your day. Don't worry, you don't have to read long books. Start with something simple like a short story or even an article on a topic you enjoy. If you love cooking, read recipes in English. If you like sports, read sports news in English. The key is to choose something that interests you so that it doesn't feel like a chore. And let's not forget about speaking practice. You don't always need a partner to practice speaking. When you're alone, talk to yourself in English. Describe what you're doing, like, "I'm cooking pasta now," or "I'm getting ready for work." It might feel strange at first, but it's a great way to get comfortable forming sentences out loud. Another way to practice is by keeping a diary in English. Write a few sentences about your day before you go to bed. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just write whatever comes to mind. For example, you could write, "Today was sunny. I went to the park and had ice cream. I felt happy." This habit helps you think in English and improves your writing skills over time. Consistency is the key to success. Even small efforts, like spending 10 minutes a day practicing English, can make a big difference. The more you practice, the more English becomes a natural part of your life. And when something feels natural, it's easier to learn and remember. Don't forget to have fun with it. Learning English doesn't have to be serious all the time. Play word games, watch funny videos, or even try to tell jokes in English. When you enjoy the process, you're more likely to stick with it. Finally, remember that every little step counts. Whether you're singing along to a song, labeling items in your home, or writing a few sentences in your diary, you're making progress. Over time, all these small actions add up and help you unlock your English potential. So, make English a part of your daily life in ways that feel natural and enjoyable. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become. And soon, speaking and understanding English will feel like second nature to you. Keep going. You've got this. Speaking English can feel intimidating, especially when you're just starting out. Many learners are afraid of making mistakes or not being understood. But I want to tell you something important. It's okay to make mistakes. Making mistakes is part of the process of learning, and every mistake brings you one step closer to fluency. In fact, the more mistakes you make, the faster you'll learn. So, don't be afraid to speak. The biggest obstacle many learners face is fear. Fear of speaking in front of others, fear of saying the wrong thing, or even fear of not understanding what others are saying. But the truth is, the more you practice speaking, the more confident you will become. And confidence is the key to mastering a language. Let's break it down. Why does fear affect our speaking? When we're afraid, our minds can go blank, we might hesitate, or we might avoid speaking altogether. But guess what? Speaking is like a muscle. You need to exercise it regularly to make it stronger. The more you speak, even if it's just a little bit each day, the more comfortable you will become, and the fear will start to fade away. Here's something that can help you get started. Practice speaking alone. Yes, even when you're by yourself, it's important to talk in English. For example, every morning, try saying 2 or 3 sentences about your day. It doesn't have to be complicated, just simple sentences like, "Today, I will go to work," or "I feel happy because the sun is shining." By speaking out loud, you're training your brain to think in English and getting used to hearing your own voice speaking the language. This is a great way to build confidence because no one is judging you, and you can focus solely on improving your skills. You can also practice speaking while you're doing other tasks. If you're making breakfast, for example, describe what you're doing. "I'm boiling eggs," or "I'm cutting vegetables." This simple activity allows you to use English in a natural way, without pressure. You can also practice in front of a mirror. Speaking to yourself in front of a mirror helps you observe your facial expressions and body language, making the experience feel more real. It's also a great way to see how much you've improved over time. If you're still feeling nervous, start with a trusted friend or family member. Find someone who is supportive, patient, and understanding. You can even ask them to help correct you gently when you make a mistake. This will build your confidence and encourage you to speak more often. Remember, they're there to help, not to criticize. With a supportive person, it's easier to practice without fear. Another great way to practice speaking is through language exchange. You can find language exchange partners online or in person, someone who speaks English and wants to learn your language. This way, you both can help each other. Speaking with a partner gives you the opportunity to practice in a real conversation, which is one of the best ways to improve your fluency. Don't be afraid to make mistakes in these conversations. It's all part of the learning journey. Also, join language groups or classes where everyone is learning. In these groups, everyone is in the same boat. Everyone makes mistakes, and it's totally normal. you'll find that many people are feeling the same fear and hesitation as you. By speaking with others who are also learning, you can create a safe space for practice. These group settings are great because they allow you to speak regularly and get comfortable with the language without worrying too much about being perfect. If you're really struggling with speaking, you can start by learning useful phrases and expressions. Instead of trying to create complex sentences right away, focus on short, easy phrases that you can use in everyday situations. For example, "How are you?" or "What time is it?" When you feel confident with these, you can start building longer sentences. One of the best ways to stop fearing speaking is to remind yourself that everyone makes mistakes, even native speakers. No one speaks perfectly all the time. Even if you make a mistake, most people will still understand you, and they'll appreciate that you're trying. So don't worry about perfection. Just focus on communication. If you don't know a word, try describing it using other words. If you forget a sentence, use simpler language. The key is not to give up. It's also important to keep a positive attitude. Celebrate your progress no matter how small it is. If you spoke even one sentence in English today, that's an achievement. Every little bit counts, and each time you speak, you get a little better. So give yourself credit for every effort, and be patient with yourself. Lastly, remember that speaking is a skill that gets better with time. The more you practice, the more natural it will become. Don't rush the process. Just keep speaking, keep practicing, and you'll see improvement. Your confidence will grow, and you'll find that you can communicate more easily over time. To sum up, don't let fear stop you from speaking. Mistakes are part of the learning process, and the more you practice speaking out loud, whether alone, with friends, or in groups, the more confident you'll become. So, start small and don't be afraid to make mistakes. The goal is to communicate, and every time you speak, you're one step closer to speaking English fluently. You've got this. Reading and writing are two of the most effective ways to improve your language skills. Both of these activities will help you expand your vocabulary, understand sentence structure, and reinforce what you've learned. But the best part? They're simple to start, and you can do them every day without feeling overwhelmed. Let's start with reading. Reading in English helps expose you to new vocabulary in context, which is much more effective than just memorizing individual words. When you read, you see how words fit together in sentences, how they are used in different contexts, and how sentences are structured. You start to get a feel for the rhythm and flow of English. The more you read, the easier it becomes to understand how the language works, and the more confident you'll become in using it. As a beginner, it's important to start with materials that are appropriate for your level. Choose books, articles, or short stories that are designed for English learners. These resources often use simpler language, and they're written to help you practice common words and phrases. There are many websites and apps that offer free reading materials for beginners. Look for content that has a manageable level of difficulty so you don't get frustrated. You can also read children's books or simple stories that are available online, which are often written with straightforward vocabulary and grammar. When you read, don't worry if you don't understand every single word. Focus on getting the general meaning first. As you become more comfortable with reading, you can start to pay attention to the words you don't know and look them up. Don't be afraid to ask yourself questions about what you've read. What is the main idea? What are the key points? What is the message the author is trying to convey? This will help you improve your comprehension skills and keep you engaged with the material. Writing is just as important as reading, and it's a great way to practice and reinforce what you've learned. Writing helps you organize your thoughts, use new vocabulary, and practice grammar structures. The more you write, the better you'll become at forming sentences and expressing your ideas clearly in English. You don't have to write long essays right away. Start with small, manageable writing exercises. After you read a story or article, try writing 1 or 2 sentences about it. This is a great way to practice your writing while reinforcing your reading skills. For example, after reading a short story, you might write, "I liked the story because the characters were funny," or "The story was interesting because it taught me a new word." These short sentences will help you practice forming sentences correctly and using new vocabulary and context. Once you feel comfortable, try writing a short paragraph about your day, your plans, or something you are interested in. Keep it simple at first. You don't need to worry about writing perfectly. Focus on getting your ideas down on paper. Over time, as you write more, you'll notice that your sentences become more natural and your vocabulary grows. Here's a great practice tip. Pick a short story or article in English and read it today. After reading it, write a sentence or two about what you liked or didn't like about the story. For example, "I liked the story because it was funny," or "I didn't like the story because it was too sad." You can even start by copying a few sentences from the text to get a feel for how sentences are structured. This is a simple way to practice both your reading and writing skills. Another helpful exercise is to keep a daily journal. It doesn't have to be long. Just a few sentences every day will make a big difference over time. Write about your feelings, your plans, or your experiences. For example, "Today, I woke up early and had breakfast. Then I went to work and it was a busy day." This will help you get used to thinking in English, and it's a great way to practice new vocabulary and sentence structures. When you write, it's helpful to use the new words you learn from reading. If you read a word or phrase that you don't know, make sure to look it up and use it in your own writing. This helps reinforce the new vocabulary and makes it easier to remember. The more you use a word in different contexts, the more familiar it will become. As you continue to practice reading and writing every day, try to challenge yourself gradually. Once you feel comfortable with short stories, try reading articles, blogs, or even news stories in English. Start with easier topics, and as you improve, work your way up to more complex content. The more you expose yourself to different types of writing, the better your reading comprehension will become, and the more vocabulary you'll acquire. A great tool for improving both reading and writing is to find online communities where you can read and write in English. You can join forums, participate in language exchange groups, or find blogs where people write about topics that interest you. Many of these communities also offer feedback, so you can get constructive advice from other learners or native speakers. This will help you improve your writing and learn from others' experiences. And let's not forget about the importance of reading aloud. This is especially helpful when you're just starting out. When you read out loud, you practice pronunciation, improve your listening skills, and become more comfortable with the rhythm of the language. Try reading a short story or article aloud every day. Even if you don't understand every word, speaking the words out loud will help you develop confidence in your spoken English. By reading and writing every day, you'll not only improve your vocabulary and grammar, but you'll also develop the confidence to use English in real-life situations. These skills will support everything you do in English, whether you're speaking, listening, or even thinking in the language. So, make it a habit to read and write every day, and you'll be amazed at how much you improve over time. In summary, reading and writing every day are two essential practices that will help you improve your English. Start small with short stories and simple sentences, and gradually challenge yourself with more complex material. Write about what you read, keep a journal, and practice regularly. The more you read and write, the better your skills will become, and the closer you'll get to mastering English. So, pick up a book, read, and start writing today. Listening is a fundamental skill when it comes to learning a new language. If you want to improve your English comprehension and communication, the more you listen, the better you'll get. Listening allows you to hear the natural flow of the language, understand how words are pronounced, and become familiar with different accents and expressions. It helps you to build your ear for the language, so you can easily recognize words, phrases, and structures when they're spoken. Start by listening to materials that are at your level. If you're a beginner, you might find it challenging at first to understand native speakers, but don't let that discourage you. The more you expose yourself to English through listening, the easier it will get. Start with slow-paced podcasts or videos designed for English learners. There are many free resources online that offer content with simple language and clear pronunciation. Listening to podcasts is a great way to improve your English skills, especially if you're on the go. You can listen to them during your commute, while exercising, or even while doing household chores. Make it a habit to listen to at least one podcast or video each day. If you don't understand everything the first time, that's okay. Don't be discouraged. The more you listen, the more you will start to pick up new vocabulary and sentence structures. One of the best ways to improve your listening and speaking skills is through repetition. After listening to a podcast or video, try to repeat sentences you hear. This is an excellent way to practice pronunciation, sentence rhythm, and fluency. When you repeat a sentence, focus on the tone, the rhythm of the words, and how the speaker emphasizes certain words. For example, if you hear the sentence, "I love to read books," try repeating it out loud. Pay attention to how each word sounds and how they fit together. This will help your speaking skills improve at the same time as your listening skills. In addition to listening to podcasts and videos, audiobooks are another great tool for improving your listening. Audiobooks provide clear, spoken English in a natural context. You can listen to stories, novels, or even educational books on topics that interest you. If you are a beginner, start with simpler audiobooks, and as you improve, move on to more complex material. The benefit of audiobooks is that they allow you to follow along with the text, so you can both listen and read at the same time. This is great for improving both your listening comprehension and vocabulary. It's important to pay attention to how words are pronounced when listening. English pronunciation can be tricky, especially because many words are not pronounced the way they are spelled. When you listen to native speakers, you will hear the true pronunciation of words as well as common phrases, contractions, and slang. This will help you sound more natural when speaking English and improve your understanding of spoken English in real-life situations. Don't be afraid to slow down the audio or replay it multiple times. Repetition is one of the best ways to improve your listening skills. Start with short clips or sections and gradually increase the length as you become more comfortable. By repeatedly listening to the same sentence or passage, you'll start to recognize the words and phrases more easily. Now let's talk about the next step: learning from your environment. Every day you are surrounded by opportunities to practice and learn English. It's easy to overlook the English words and signs around you, but these everyday items are full of learning potential. From menus and store signs to advertisements and packaging, your environment is constantly offering new words and phrases to learn. Make it a habit to pay attention to the English around you. Look at signs in stores, streets, and public places. Read the labels on products, the menus in restaurants, and the ads on TV or online. Try to understand the meaning of these words and sentences. For example, when you see the word open on a store door, think about how you can use it in a sentence. You might say, "The store is open now," or "I see that the door is open." By recognizing these words and incorporating them into your everyday conversations, you'll expand your vocabulary and get used to using English in different contexts. Another great way to learn from your environment is to label items around your home with their English names. For example, you can stick labels on furniture, appliances, or items in your kitchen. When you see these words, say them aloud and use them in a sentence. This helps you practice and reinforces new vocabulary in a real-world setting. For instance, if you have a label that says refrigerator on your fridge, you could say, "I need to put the milk in the refrigerator," or "The refrigerator is cold." You can also make use of apps or language learning tools that help you learn from your surroundings. Some apps allow you to scan objects and get the translation or word in English. This can be a fun and interactive way to learn new vocabulary. As you use these apps and tools, try to speak the words out loud and incorporate them into your conversations. The more you use these words, the more naturally they'll come to you when you speak English. In addition, when you go out or travel, engage in conversations with English speakers. Even if you only know a few words, don't be afraid to try. Most people will appreciate that you are making the effort to speak their language. Ask simple questions or try to understand what they're saying. For example, you could ask, "What time does the store open?" Or, "Where is the nearest bus stop?" These real-life conversations will help you learn more quickly and build your confidence in speaking English. Finally, always keep a vocabulary journal to track the new words you learn. Whenever you see an English word or phrase in your environment, write it down and look up its meaning. Try to use the word in a sentence and review your journal regularly. This will help reinforce what you've learned and ensure that the new vocabulary sticks. Remember, the key to improving your English is to surround yourself with the language as much as possible. By listening to podcasts, watching videos, and paying attention to the English words around you, you'll naturally begin to pick up new vocabulary, improve your listening skills, and gain confidence in using English every day. So, start listening and learning from your environment today. There are opportunities all around you. Learning with others makes the process much more enjoyable and can relieve some of the stress of learning a new language. One of the best ways to stay motivated and make steady progress is to practice with a friend. If you have a friend who is also learning English, this is a perfect opportunity to work together, exchange ideas, and grow your skills. It also gives you a chance to practice speaking, which can be the most challenging aspect of language learning. Having a study partner not only makes it fun, but also helps you become more confident. When you practice with a friend, you can correct each other, share tips, and give feedback. This makes your learning journey feel less like a solo task and more like a team effort. You can help each other with pronunciation, grammar, and vocabulary, making the learning process much more interactive. You don't need to have lengthy conversations right away. Start with small interactions, like simple greetings or asking each other about your day. For example, you could practice saying, "Hi, how are you today?" And then follow up with questions like, "What did you do today?" Or, "Did you learn anything new?" The key is to create a supportive environment where both of you feel comfortable practicing. And if you make mistakes, that's totally okay. You're learning, and mistakes are just part of the process. Having a study partner also helps keep you accountable. When you know someone else is waiting to practice with you, you are more likely to stick to your learning routine. You can even schedule regular practice sessions, such as a 10-minute chat each day or a longer session a few times a week. The more you talk with your partner, the more fluent and comfortable you'll become. Another great way to practice with a friend is by playing language games. These can be simple games that help you practice vocabulary, grammar, and speaking. For example, you can play word association games, where one person says a word and the other has to respond with the first word that comes to mind. Or you could do a 20 questions game, where one person thinks of something and the other person asks yes/no questions to figure out what it is. These games make learning fun, interactive, and engaging. If you don't have a friend to practice with in person, there are many online platforms and apps that connect language learners. You can find language partners from around the world who are eager to practice with you. Apps like HelloTalk and Tandem allow you to find people who want to practice English and are learning your native language. You can chat through text, voice messages, or even video calls, allowing you to practice speaking and listening skills from the comfort of your own home. Don't forget to correct each other during practice. If one of you makes a mistake, kindly point it out and explain the correct way to say or write something. This feedback helps both of you improve faster and avoids the mistake becoming a habit. Positive reinforcement is also important. Celebrate each other's progress and keep encouraging each other to continue. Learning together makes the journey much more enjoyable and motivating. Next, let's talk about another important step for success: staying consistent. When it comes to language learning, consistency is the secret ingredient to success. Many people think that learning a language requires hours of study in one sitting, but that's not true. The key to making progress is to practice little by little every day. Consistency beats intensity in the long run. It's much more effective to practice for just 10 minutes each day than to cram in a long session once a week. Short, focused practice sessions allow your brain to absorb and retain information better. When you practice every day, you are building a habit, and your brain starts recognizing patterns and structures in the language more easily. The more consistently you practice, the more naturally you will start using English in everyday situations. You might be thinking, 10 minutes isn't enough time to learn a language, but the truth is, 10 minutes every day is much more powerful than 2 hours once a week. Imagine if you practiced every day for a month. You would have completed 300 minutes of practice. But if you only practiced for 2 hours on the weekend, you would have spent much less time overall. Small, daily actions create a bigger impact over time, and they help you stay on track with your learning goals. One way to stay consistent is to set a timer for 10 minutes each day and focus on one specific skill: reading, writing, speaking, or listening. For example, you can set the timer for 10 minutes to practice reading an article in English, or 10 minutes to write down your thoughts in English. This helps you stay focused and organized, ensuring that you are improving each skill consistently. Over time, you'll see improvements in all areas. Another way to maintain consistency is to schedule your practice time. Put it in your calendar just like any other important appointment. Whether it's 10 minutes in the morning or 10 minutes before bed, set aside that time specifically for English practice. By treating your practice time as a non-negotiable part of your day, you will make learning English a regular habit. You could also track your progress to stay motivated. Keep a journal or log where you write down what you've learned each day. This gives you a sense of accomplishment and reminds you of how far you've come. Plus, it's a great way to reflect on what you need to work on next. Finally, don't be too hard on yourself. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. You might miss a day here and there, and that's okay. The important thing is to keep coming back and continuing your practice. The more consistent you are, the easier it will be to keep improving and eventually reach your language learning goals. In summary, learning with a friend and staying consistent are both crucial to your success in English. Whether you're practicing speaking with a friend or carving out time each day to study, the more you practice, the more confident and fluent you will become. So, find a study partner, stay consistent with your practice, and make English a part of your daily life. Keep it up, and soon you'll see amazing progress. Learning a new language is an exciting journey, and it's important to celebrate every small achievement along the way. No matter how small the step, it's a victory that deserves recognition. Every time you learn a new word, finish a short story, or speak a full sentence without stopping, you've accomplished something significant. These moments of success are the building blocks of your progress. They help you stay motivated and remind you that you are moving forward. It's easy to get caught up in the big picture, focusing on the fluency you're aiming for or the level of mastery you want to reach. However, it's essential to recognize the small milestones that pave the way to fluency. These moments might seem small, but they're actually huge because they represent real progress in your learning journey. For example, learning a new word might seem small, but it's one more piece of your vocabulary puzzle. If you learn 20 new words in a week, you're expanding your ability to understand and communicate. Completing a short story shows your growth in reading comprehension. And when you speak a full sentence without hesitation, it's a sign of increased confidence and fluency. These steps, although small, are what add up to great progress in the long run. Take a moment to celebrate every time you accomplish something, whether it's big or small. Acknowledging your progress helps you stay motivated and reinforces your commitment to learning. Even if you're just starting, every effort you make counts. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about improvement and persistence. Here's a fun practice tip. At the end of each week, write down one thing you're proud of. For example, you might write, I learned 20 new words this week, or I spoke English for 5 minutes without stopping. These accomplishments don't have to be huge, but they serve as a reminder of your hard work and dedication. Writing down these achievements gives you a sense of accomplishment, and it will help you see your progress over time. After you've written down your achievements, reward yourself. Treat yourself to something small, maybe watch your favorite show, enjoy a snack, or do something else that makes you happy. Celebrating your hard work reinforces the positive behavior and keeps you motivated to keep going. Remember, learning is a process, and every step forward is worth celebrating. One of the best ways to stay motivated is to create positive reinforcement in your learning routine. For instance, when you achieve a milestone, share it with a friend or family member. Celebrate together. Or, if you prefer, keep a progress journal where you reflect on your weekly accomplishments. You can even create a reward system for yourself. For example, after reaching a specific goal, treat yourself to something fun or relaxing. This kind of reward system can help maintain your momentum and keep the process enjoyable. Now, let's think about making 2025 your year for language learning. You have the power to become a confident English speaker in the coming year, but only if you stay committed and keep putting in the effort. As we move into the new year, take a moment to reflect on your progress and set new goals. The key to success in 2025 is starting small, staying consistent, and believing in yourself. It's normal to face obstacles along the way. You might make mistakes or feel discouraged at times, but remember, mistakes are just steps toward success. Don't let them hold you back. Instead, see them as opportunities to learn and grow. Embrace mistakes because they help you improve and get closer to your goal. Each time you make a mistake and correct it, you're one step closer to becoming fluent. If you focus on making small, consistent improvements every day, you'll be amazed at how far you can go. Celebrate each small victory along the way and keep pushing forward. Consistency is key. If you stick to your practice, believe in yourself, and celebrate your achievements, there's no doubt that you'll unlock your full English potential this year. I want to thank you for joining me today. If you found these tips helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this lesson with your friends. Let's make 2025 the year you achieve your English fluency goals. Keep learning. Stay confident, and always remember that you've got this. I'll see you in the next lesson. Until then, keep practicing and keep celebrating your progress, no matter how small it may seem. You're doing an amazing job.